Hello, and welcome to The Banker's Fresh Perspectives in association with Temenos. I'm Joy Macknight, Deputy and Technology Editor at The Banker, and I'm joined by Max Chuard, Chief Financial Officer and Chief Operating Officer at Temenos, to talk about how banks can develop a winning strategy in this quick-evolving, competitive environment. Max, thanks so much for joining us today.
It's a pleasure.
What would you say are the biggest drivers of change in the banking industry today?
Well, clearly banking in the last 10 years have massively changed, and we can see structural drivers for that. First, I would say the customer experience, so what the customer is willing and is expecting from the bank is totally different to what it was in the past. Regulation as well is moving and is changing as well the way the banks operate. Also, the profitability of the bank have changed massively over the years. If you look at before the financial crisis, the returns were quite substantial, and today it's clearly not the same. And all of that with technology, which allows for a major change. So I think it's very exciting times for banking as an overall. If I had to single out one of all of them, is what's happening in open banking. For instance, if you look at in Europe with PSD2, open banking initiative in the UK, it's moving as well now in Asia. So it's really happening and it's very exciting. Temenos has been there for the last 25 years, focused solely on bringing innovation to those banks, and clearly this is our goal. We invest heavily in R&D. Around 20% of our sales every year goes there, and we want to take banks to the next generation. So it's exciting times, and I think there is a lot happening in the banking industry at this stage.
Okay, let's go back to the changing customer needs. How can banks really, deliver what the customers are demanding, but also in a sort of a personalized manner?
The customer is expecting from the bank to get the same experience they are getting in their daily life with when they use Amazon or Uber, for instance. And clearly the fact that those banks are still using, by and large, systems that have been built in the 60s, in the 70s, what we called legacy systems, those systems cannot offer that type of experience. And hence they do need to change, they do need to go through a transformation, a digital transformation, to be able to offer that type of experience. I think banks need to invest in technology, they need to embrace and to come to the 21st century, basically, as the systems were built pre the internet age. So I think this is a major challenge for them. But ultimately, they will need to embrace API to be able to be open and to be able to bring information from third parties. They need also to think about cloud computing, to be able to scale, to be able to be much more agile, and also to be able to leverage innovation in a much better way. And ultimately, even technology like AI, I think banks will need to automate AI within the processes, and also to be able, through that, to offer a much more personalized experience to the customers.
You mentioned cloud. Obviously, that's a hot topic right now. How is cloud really enabling new banking models to come to the fore?
Mm-hmm. Well, we see cloud, in fact, in all types of banks taking a lot of traction for small, big, globally. Clearly, cloud is a major transformation in the banking industry, as it has allowed new entrants to enter the market without having to take the full cost of the IT infrastructure, and to do that in a much faster way. Cloud computing has basically brought down the barriers to entry for those new entrants, and clearly they are challenging the model as it is. At the same time, for incumbent or for the existing banks, they can also clearly benefit from cloud computing. Is it from speed of innovation, is it from agility, from scalability, and also obviously from the financial benefit that clouds bring to those banks. So I think whatever it is, the size of the banks, where they are, they do need to consider cloud in a big way. Well, clearly Temenos is at the forefront of cloud computing. We were the first one, in fact, in 2011 to bring a core banking on public cloud. So it's all about innovation. It's about being the first in what we do. We do this with more than 5,000 staff. Half of them are just doing development, R&D, bringing innovation. So as I said, we are passionate about this. And we can help banks to go through the journeys and go to the cloud.
Okay, and you also mentioned open banking. and the global move towards open banking, how does that really change the competitive environment for banks?
Yeah, I think open banking is clearly challenging the traditional model. If you want the end-to-end banking where a bank used to manufacture a product and distribute that product, we believe that with open banking this will not be the case in the future, and we'll see an unbundling of the manufacturing and the distribution ultimately. And hence you'll see probably banks specializing in either distributing products or manufacturing products, but you will not have banks being, doing the whole process as it was the case. Again, I think banks, as I said, needs to embark into a digital transformation. Temenos is there to support them. I think the future is very bright for banks, let's be very clear. But they do need to embrace technology, they do need to go through that once-in-a-life generation transformation, and Temenos is there to support them and to help them to get there.
Okay, my last question is really about developing a winning strategy. Whether you're an incumbent or a challenger bank, how can you really plan your future?
We deal with banks, every day, and for them it's very important. Yes, the technology is there, so how do we get there now? And there are a few models to do that, and Temenos can take them there. Either you build and migrate, so basically you decide to start from scratch. It will be a faster way to get there. You create a new bank within the bank, and slowly over time you will migrate books and records to that new bank. So that's a way to go faster to market. Otherwise, you can do a transformation, a renovation. So slowly you renovate the bank. You start, for instance, from the front, or you got some from the analytics, from the payment, and you slowly renovate the bank. And again, we can do that. Or probably for the smaller banks, you can do a rip and replace, so you do that in one go. So clearly this is what we do, and even though it's a big challenge for a bank to transform, this is our job and we do it pretty well. So we can support them to get where they want.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your insights, Max.
Thank you.